Hi there, I'm Dawn Priolette with dawnpriolette.com, and this is the first of 5 videos in my 5 video challenge. This is Design Your Destiny with Money challenge. And so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm actually going to be guiding you through 5 different processes about the 5 types of money. Because, usually when law of attraction practitioners and, holistic healers, people like that, they talk about money in terms of abundance and prosperity. And that's all well and good. But what I find is those terms are so general. And until we really get specific and really look at each of the 5 types of money and really see what's behind that money for you. What is blocking you specifically about each type of money? Otherwise it's not going to be very effective. So today I want to talk about debt. Yes, we're going to dive right into the puddle with debt. Now, if you don't have any debt, I want you to put your hands together and say, thank you, God. Okay? And also, I want to say to you, even if you don't have any debt, please, please, please listen to the rest of this series and watch the rest of this series because we're going to actually go into your income next. So, the other thing I do want to say about debt is if you are very debt adverse, that is, if the very thought of going into any kind of debt just puts you into a state of anxiety, you might also want to go ahead and go through this particular process today, or at least the tapping that I'm going to do around this, because it really makes it very hard. Let's face it, you've got to have in order to own a house, most people have to have a mortgage, okay? Because it's just not realistic to fork out 200 grand or more in cash, right? So that could be a problem. You could end up living on rent for the rest of your life if you're that adverse to having any kind of debt, and that wouldn't be good. And if you are a coach or a healer, um, as a business, you really do need to invest in yourself and invest in your business as far as training, any certifications you might need, and marketing training. So being really debt adverse can be a huge disadvantage to you as well. Anytime you have some really, really negative feelings in terms of money or debt, that tells you that, you've got some work to do. So that being said, let's dive right in. We're doing debt today. We're going to design your destiny with money, starting with the debt. So here's what I want you to do. Just take a piece of paper, write down your debt. Just write it down. If you don't know exactly how much it is because you refuse to open up those envelopes that come in the mail and you're not answering your phone, that's okay because you pretty much have an idea. You have an idea what it is. So just write that down and I want you to just look at it, okay? This is going to bring so much clarity, I promise you, even though it's probably going to feel like crap while we're going through it. So now what I want you to do is just look at that number, the number of your debt. And just notice what are the feelings that are coming up as you look at that number. And write those down. Is it sadness? Is it anxiety? Is it hopelessness? Whatever it is, just write that down. And I also want you to notice as you're looking at that number, are there some thoughts that are going through your mind right now? Is that, is there kind of a voice in your head saying, oh my God, how irresponsible, or, this is just hopeless, or how could I have been so stupid? Whatever it is, just write that down. And I want you to think about, as you're looking at that number, you're looking at all the feelings that are coming up, the anxiety, the sadness, the unfairness of it, whatever it is, and the thoughts that are going on, like, this is impossible. There's like no way out of this debt, no matter what I do. I want you to just think about this. Does that put you in a resourceful state where you can actually begin to do something about it? Yes or no? So when you're having these kind of feelings, the anxiety, the sadness, that's impossible, that's running through your head, do you think that that is going to put you in a state of mind where you can actually say, okay, I've got to call someone, I've got to try to get help, I've got to try to put together a plan to try to, somehow manage this debt? No, right? The answer is no. In fact, what's actually happening when you're feeling anxiety, sadness, these kinds of feelings, these are lower self feelings, you're actually going into a state of fight or flight. And if you know anything about fight or flight, it means you absolutely do not have available to you all of your mental faculties are not present, because all of the blood goes from your brain down to your extremities, right? Because you're literally preparing to run for your life. It's like you've got a tiger chasing you, getting ready to eat you, and as far as your body's concerned, you are in fight or flight. Your brain doesn't work, your creative capabilities are not there. Your intuition, which is so important in helping you to resolve these kinds of situations, your intuition is not there because you are just in such a panic. And that may be one of the feelings that's coming up for you, is just absolute panic. And I want you to consider, just notice right now, where are you feeling it in your body? Are you feeling it in your chest? Is there a tightness in your chest? Are you feeling it right in your center, like it just hit you in the gut? Just notice where you're feeling the sensations. And now I want you to think about, is there a memory coming up? Something from the past, maybe just a past trauma of some sort. It may not have had anything directly to do with debt or money even. It's just something that happened in the past. It could have been about a relationship that went wrong, but something that when you think about it, you think, if that hadn't happened, my debt would not be looking like this. My money situation would not be looking like this. And just, maybe come up with a short title, like if it were a movie clip that's going through your mind, just think of a short title for that and just kind of note that down. And so I'm actually going to lead you through some EFT tapping, because I know that this has brought up some really, really negative stuff. But I want, before we do some tapping on this, I do want you to just really take a moment and think about this too. If it feels this crappy, And if it feels so impossible, you know, what motivation would you have to really look at this, to really try to put together a plan? Obviously, you're not in a resource state to do it because you're in fight or flight. And even when you're not quite in fight or flight, it just feels so bad. You don't even want to go there, right? And so we're doing this today because we want to get clarity about what's really going on behind your debt. Which brings me to another thing. Debt is really a metaphor for punishment. So I want you to just think about this. If you were punishing yourself for something, what would that be? Or if you were punishing someone else for something, maybe your parents, disempowered you when you were a child. You went through a lot of abuse and trauma. You know, whether it had to do with money or not, doesn't necessarily have to do anything with money. So if you were punishing yourself or someone else, what are you punishing yourself for? Or what are you punishing your parents for? Or is there something, a trauma that happened in the past where you just can't let it go and you're kind of holding on to the evidence of what they did to you in your debt? So in other words, your debt has become the evidence of the fact that somebody wronged you. Okay? So that's clarity. That's getting clarity. And so I'm going to guide you through a little bit of EFT tapping. We're not going to clear it all away today, but we are going to take away some of the ick factor around all these thoughts and feelings that are coming up and this trauma. And this is, I want you to know, this is just the beginning of the kind of work to begin to get at this debt and stop creating it. Because you see, as long as you have this story or this thing that you're punishing yourself for or you're punishing someone else for, do you see that on an unconscious level, you have to keep creating this in order to keep that story going? And the other thing that I want to suggest to you, which may not be that obvious, is that all of those feelings and the thoughts and the beliefs about yourself that you wrote down, I want to suggest to you that those feelings, although they may seem like you feel this way because of your debt, I want to suggest to you that actually the reverse is true. Those feelings were there first, and you created your reality around money according to your feelings about yourself and about the world and your beliefs about the world. So if we don't deal with those feelings and the beliefs, you cannot change your money situation because you're creating, it's like you're projecting out into the world all of your beliefs and it's showing up in your money. So one more thing I want you to do. I want you to fill in the blank for this statement as you look at your debt. This means I'm what? Fill in that blank. Irresponsible. This means I'm a loser. This means I'm what? Worthless. This means I am irresponsible with money. So fill that in. And so I'm going to start leading you through some EFT tapping just so that we can take the edge off of some of these negative feelings right now today. If you don't know EFT tapping, I'm going to be tapping on the top of the head the beginning of the eyebrows with 2 fingers, the end of the eyebrows with 2 fingers, under the eyes, under the nose, under the mouth, right in the cleft of the chin, collarbone, and last place, I'll be hitting both of the insides of the wrists together, okay? So if you don't know EFT, you can always Google it later, but for now, just follow along. And I promise you, if you measure from 0 to 10, like how, take what's the main feeling you're feeling right now. Is it anxiety? Is it stress? And measure from 0 to 10, with 0 being it's not there, 10 is like huge, huge anxiety or stress or anger, whatever it is. For some of you, it's anger. So we're going to do some tapping, looking at your debt right now. So starting at the top of the head, there it is. I feel like such a loser. When I look at my debt, it just feels hopeless. It's completely hopeless. What good would it even do for me to try to work on this? That amount of money is just too much. It's huge. It's like this huge, huge boulder in my life, and it's blocking me. What's the point of trying to earn any money? All I'm going to have to do is pay everything that I have into that debt. I don't get to keep any of my money. It has to go to pay this debt. And it's going to be that way till the day I die. That's what it feels like. This is my truth. This is hopeless. This debt is like something that there's just no way out of, because it's just too much. This debt is humongous. And I will never earn enough money to ever be able to pay this all off. It's a tremendous burden on me. And it's a burden on my family as well. Because no matter how much money I earn, it has to go towards paying this debt. So I really don't even have much motivation, because it's just too much. It feels impossible. I don't know what to do about this. And that's why I do absolutely nothing. I don't want to answer the phone when the debt collectors call. I don't even want to open up the correspondence. It just feels so horrible. I don't know what to do about it. Boy, I am really not in a very resourceful state to deal with this. And maybe I've been unconsciously pushing away any opportunity at all of receiving any kind of help with this debt, because I just don't want to look at it. I'm open to letting go of some of these negative, horrible feelings about this debt today. And I am open to finding solutions, maybe in places I never would have expected before. Now take a deep breath. So I hope that that's brought you a little bit of relief. Like I said, this is just the beginning, okay? This is just the beginning. And in the next video, we're going to dive right into looking at your income. So I hope you stay with me through this challenge. Again, my name is Dawn Priolet, and I will see you in the next video.